Hi, I'm Mr. Miyagi and this is Mr. Miyagi's Workshop. Well, today we're going to talk about what we need to take with us on a trip. And I'm not talking about camping gear like that, but I'm talking about when you're driving down the road, what tools you might need to fix your problem. Let's face it, these old XS650s, old shovelheads, old Triumphs, or whatever, we don't have a dealer that we can just take it into. These are not new bikes. These are all used bikes that you picked up somewhere along the line. And eventually something's going to go wrong and you're going to need to repair it. So let's talk about tools. So let's get to it. Okay, I have this little tool roll-up that I throw in my saddlebag. And basically, what it has is just some basic tools to fix the problem. The screwdriver, now this one is, it's got a Phillips, it's got the smaller Phillips, and the straight screwdriver, common, small, and large. And you can change them out, and it just switches around on these. These are kind of a nice unit. I'm not even real sure where I got this. Oh, I got this at a hardware store, Sevo's, our little local hardware store. I always carry a large crescent wrench, and I always carry a hammer of some sort. You never know when you want to knock something. Spark plug wrench to get in there to pop those spark plugs out to figure out what's going on. A pair of vice grips. Pair of small pliers, pair of smaller vice grips, these nice water pump pliers, a file of some sort in case you got to file something, and then maybe some pieces of wire. You might want to wire something back together again. A small screwdriver for getting into those tight spots. Maybe some Allen wrenches that fit whatever you have on your bike. The assortment of tools, like this one here, this actually fits my axle nut. And this is a 22, and then we have the 27, which I said fit the axle nut on my bike. And then just a range of metric tools, a 6 up to 17 millimeter or whatever. It all seems, it's all kind of compact. Oh yeah, a pair of wire cutters, just in case you need them. But also, what I pack is I got this little kit over here. Electrician's tape and the famous Gorilla tape. You never know, you can put everything back together again. And then I just have an assortment of nuts and bolts and maybe some hose clamps or whatever. A master link for my chain that I carry. Because if you're running chain, sometimes you'll break these master links, and it's nice to be able to put in another master link. Or what I have done in the past is I've actually went through both connectors and made a master link out of just wrapping it with wire to get me to somewhere where I could get a master link or get a chain or whatever. But there's just an assortment of screws and nuts and bolts and whatever. People have said, you pack an awful lot of stuff. Well, I tend to also do a lot more repairs, not on so much my bike, but I help out other people. So having these extra parts is not only helping me, but a lot of times I'm helping somebody else on the road. I have a voltmeter for testing everything. These things come in handy. Was cheap. This was out of a hardware store. I think maybe $8. I also pack some wire ties, and then I pack extra wire You never know, you might want to connect something together, something broke. And then I have assortment of wire connections that, like the old squeeze connector and such, that you can help put a piece of wire back together or whatever. Yeah, I know, I kind of go overboard on my stuff, but, it comes in handy. Zip ties, they come in handy for putting all sorts of things back together again. I also pack some rubber gloves for working on it in case you're working on something greasy. You don't want to get totally greasy. I also pack some rags with me, just for cleanup or to lay on the ground in case you're taking something apart. You've got a place to put it, and you can keep track of those parts. And then a buddy of mine made this up, and then I copied him, and I thought it was a great idea. This is an airline. Let's say your tire is low. You can hook onto a full tire. Now, I'm not suggesting this, but if you happen to be in a parking lot and there's a big truck there or something, you can take this on, hook it onto that truck tire, and have enough to fill yours up. You're not taking a lot out of that one, but you can fill up your tire, which is going flat or is flat. Plus, if you need a siphoning hose, you just take your ends off, and now you've got a siphoning hose. You can get some fuel from your buddy or whatever into your bike tank. Now, it's just something simple, but this is this style here. Like I said, this squeezes onto your tire stem and locks it on. While you've got this one here you can push, and these are just simply made up. It's just a hose and these two fittings here. So you don't have to actually go overboard like I do. On occasions, when you do need something, it's nice to be able to pull over, fix what you've got. But, the simple things. A set of tools, pliers, maybe a crescent wrench, maybe a hammer, and then the vice grips. They do come in handy when you need to hold on to something. And definitely a screwdriver with the Phillips and the common. That makes it easier. The only reason I'm doing it this way is so it's more compact. Now you can go a little more overboard with this. Sometimes when I pack with my other bikes and stuff, especially my old Shovelhead, I'll go more into depth because I never know what's going to go wrong with that. But if you've seen one of my videos where we locked the engine up on that was a tough one. But I was able to kind of diagnose the problem on the road, and wasn't able to fix it, but I diagnosed the problem. One other little item I pack with me is this little air pump. I run an air puck seat on my rigid frame, and what this does, it allows me to pump that up or down. Plus, you have a backup way to fill air into your tires, which is kind of nice. These are just a bicycle pump. They're nothing fancy about it. I think they're about 15-20 bucks. And if you need to let air out, you can put it. These actually screw on to your filler. So it's kind of nice. They work well. One other item I should maybe suggest to take along is maybe pick up one of these Tusk off-road kits for patching your tires, especially if you're running like tubeless tires. On these, my XS over there, and on the Shovelhead I run tubeless. So on my other one over there, on my dual sport, I bring along some tire irons and stuff. It starts to get a lot of garbage that you're packing, but if you need it, you need it. This is if like I said, if you're running a tubeless setup, these little tubeless sets And you can get it. It comes with this where you put the CO2 cartridge on, and you can turn it on or off, which is kind of nice. You can screw this on. This fits onto your valve stem. You can fill it up with CO2, and you're back on the road again. Well, I know it seems like a lot of overkill carrying a lot of this stuff, especially if you're running with your buddy. I mean, you guys can break this stuff up, between the two bikes and stuff. Like I said, I tend to overpack myself because I'm a mechanic, and so I tend to help anybody on the road that I can. One of the biggest things that I tell everybody, especially with miscellaneous bolts and stuff, if you're stopped alongside the road taking a break or whatever, you see a bolt laying on there, a nut, a washer, or some piece of metal, put it in your pocket. You never know when you might need it. I told that to Mrs. Miyagi once, and she was actually went on her solo trips. She was actually able to fix one of her bikes with some parts that she found alongside the road. Believe it or not, there you have it. You never know. But the whole thing out there is just bring along what you're comfortable with, what you think you might need, because there's always going to be something that you didn't know you needed, and that's for the next trip. But these basic things, duct tape, wire ties, simple stuff like that, wire, that'll get you through a lot of problems with pieces that maybe fallen off or whatever. Or you've broken an exhaust mount or what, you're able to get it fixed back on. So if there's any comments or questions, you can put it in the comment section below, or you can send them to my email address at tmiyagi@hotmail.com. Now, if you've liked this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget that ringy-dingy button up there for the next episode coming up. So this is Mr. Miyagi saying be safe out there.